After my divorce from my husband was finalized, I moved in with my daughter, Natalie. About 6 months later, something unexpected happened. It was my day off, and I was relaxing at home with Natalie when I got a call from my mother. She told me that my ex-husband and his mother had shown up at my parents' house uninvited. I quickly got dressed and went over there. When I arrived, I found my ex-husband and his mother sitting on the sofa in the living room, waiting for me. I had no clue why they were there. "Why are you here at my parents' house?" I asked. My ex-husband, John, surprised me by saying, "I want you to return the money you owe me. My name is Aaron. I'm a 40-year-old office worker. I was married to John for 14 years, and our daughter, Natalie, was born around the time we got married. She's now in the 8th grade. We were a happy family, and I felt sure that we would always have a loving home together." I met John on a blind date and was instantly drawn to his friendly, kind, and cheerful nature. He liked me too, and we stayed in touch throughout high school. We shared our contact details and started dating. After a few dates, a year later, he proposed, and we got married. I loved him deeply and was thrilled when he asked me to marry him. I had a close group of friends from high school, and we always came together for big events. When I told them I was getting married, they were all excited and congratulated me. They all came to our wedding and talked about wanting to get married too. Over time, one by one, all my friends from the group got married, and eventually, everyone in our circle was married. We laughed and joked about how our group of friends had all suddenly become adults, with everyone now being married. Then, when I got pregnant, my friends started getting pregnant too, and before long, we had turned into a group of moms. It felt like we were all going through life together, and I knew we would stay close friends forever. I was happy being both a wife and a mother. I also enjoyed my job. After college, I started working in the planning and development department of a big company, and my days were very busy. The job was challenging but very rewarding, and I learned something new every day. One of my mom friends, who stayed at home, once told me, "You're really a workaholic, Aaron, but you also have a great family life. It's like you have two lives or something." My friend says I'm a very strong woman, but I really wish I had the endless energy of a strong man. Both John and Natalie helped me unwind and relax at home after a long day at work. When I got home, I would say, "I'm home." Natalie would respond with a cheerful, "Oh, Mommy, welcome home." When she was younger, she would greet me with a big smile and a hug, which made all my tiredness disappear for the day. John would also help me relax. After Natalie was born, John quit his job and started working part-time so I could continue working at my company. He took a job at a cafe and took care of picking up and dropping off Natalie. When I came home, he always had dinner ready. After a long day at work, it's tough to cook, so coming home to a hot meal was a huge relief. John's cooking helped me feel relaxed and refreshed. I would take baths with Natalie and we chat about our day. My life was fulfilling both at work and at home. I could manage it all because John and Natalie were so supportive of my job. Their kindness made me even more dedicated and passionate about my work, and as I achieved good results, I got promoted. With the promotion, I started working more overtime and often came home quite late. By then, Natalie was older and understood the demands of my job, so she could handle some things on her own. John also began working more hours at the cafe. Lately, I've been enjoying exploring different coffee shops and buying their coffee beans. I picked up some today, along with cakes from a new bakery. I suggested we have them with coffee. John has really gotten into coffee. He's been learning about roasting beans and trying different types at his cafe job. That's why he makes such great coffee at home. John and Natalie were both very understanding about my dedication to work, but I didn't notice that our family was slowly starting to drift apart. I first realized something was wrong when Natalie came to me with a concern. "What's up? You wanted to talk about something," I asked her. "Well, the other day, when I went to see a movie with friends from school, I saw Dad with another woman," she said. I was shocked. "What?" Natalie continued. "They weren't holding hands or anything, but they seemed a bit close. Lately, I've noticed Dad talking a lot on the phone before you get home. Sometimes he's so focused on his phone that he doesn't really listen to me. He looks happy while on his phone. At first, I thought he was texting or talking to you, but after seeing him with that woman, I'm starting to wonder if he was talking to her instead." Natalie looked really sad as she spoke. She was already in middle school and sensitive to these kinds of issues, so I knew she wouldn't be able to handle this alone. I was also shocked. The thought that John, who I believed always put Natalie first, might be having an affair was heartbreaking. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I didn't realize we were making you feel this way. I've been too focused on work, haven't I? Natalie reassured me. No, it's okay that you work hard, Mom. Don't feel bad about that. I was grateful for her understanding words. Thank you, Natalie. I'll talk to your dad about this. If it turns out he's having an affair, I think I'll have to get a divorce. Is that okay with you? She nodded. I don't like the idea of Dad having an affair. Just knowing that and still being with him would make me feel bad. Seeing Natalie so upset made me realize how much I had neglected my family. I knew I needed to get to the bottom of this issue, especially since Natalie had the courage to bring it up. I hired a private investigator to look into John's possible affair. The results were shocking. John was indeed having an affair, just as Natalie said, and there was photographic evidence to prove it. What stunned me the most was who his affair partner was, Stacy, one of my high school classmates and a member of our mom's group. I was more surprised by this betrayal from a friend I trusted than by John's affair itself. Stacy, a stay-at-home mom and the last to marry in our group, had a young child of her own. Yet she was involved with John and neglecting her own child. When I saw the evidence, I was overwhelmed and couldn't move for a while. If I hadn't been alone in my room, Natalie might have stumbled upon those photos, causing even more turmoil in our family. I wasn't ready to confront John yet, and I definitely couldn't let Natalie see these pictures. I took a deep breath to calm myself down. Then, another friend from the mom's group told me she had changed jobs, which gave me the idea to suggest a get-together. I figured it would be a good chance to see Stacy without her knowing I was aware of the affair. The get-together was planned for 3 weeks later. During that time, I quickly hired a lawyer and began preparing for the divorce. I briefly informed Natalie about what I had discovered and that her dad and I would be getting a divorce. We spent our days off together looking for a new apartment. The day of the get-together finally arrived. I started by asking my friend about her new job, and then we all shared updates about our lives. Stacy still didn't seem to know that I was aware of her secret, and we had a normal conversation. Everyone's working, so it's good that things are changing, Stacy said. I'm just a housewife, so I'm stuck in the same routine. Well, you don't have to work, Stacy, because you have a husband who supports you, one of my friends replied. I do appreciate my husband, but sometimes I feel a little bored, Stacy admitted. It was time to confront her about the affair. So, is that why you're having an affair with other people's husbands? I asked. Stacy and the other friends froze at my comment. Aaron, what do you mean by that? Stacy asked, her face going pale. Well, it seems that Stacy is having an affair with my husband John, I said. What? No way. You must be joking, the other friend said, trying to defend Stacy. Since my friends were protecting her, Stacy took advantage of it. That's right, Aaron. What are you talking about all of a sudden? You must have confused me with someone else, Stacy said, trying to deflect. Oh, really? I replied. Then why don't you all take a look at this? I pulled out the photos from my bag and laid them out on the table. My friends stared at the photos in shock. Oh my gosh, they gasped. Stacy, why? They asked. Stacy, clearly caught off guard by the evidence, covered her mouth with her hand. I'm so shocked. Why did you have an affair with my husband? Stacy seemed to realize there was no way out. I'm really sorry. I happened to walk into the cafe where your husband works. I didn't know he worked there at first, but I started going there regularly. My husband provides for me, but he's been neglecting me since we got married. I was feeling lonely. Stacy started to cry as she spoke, but even though she had her reasons, having an affair is unacceptable, especially with a friend's husband. I remained calm and composed, not letting her tears affect me. I'm sorry to everyone else, but I need to tell Stacy that I'm going to pursue alimony from her, I said. I also sent a certified letter about this to your mailbox today, Stacy. Your husband should have already seen it. Oh no, Stacy said, looking worried. How could he do something so terrible? She asked, still in shock. It's far worse to have an affair with a friend's husband when you're married and have a child of your own. You need to face the consequences and make amends for what you've done, I said. Stacy turned pale and nodded. One of my other friends added, We really can't trust you anymore, Stacy. We left the restaurant, leaving Stacy behind. Now that I had dealt with her, it was time to confront John. I was pretty sure Stacy had already contacted him about what happened. When I got home, John met me at the door, looking panicked. "What have you done?" "I just got a call from Stacy." "Are you really making our affair public?" "How could you be so terrible? You acted like a good husband, but you were cheating on me." "No, that's not." "But Stacy has a family too. How could you expose her like that? It's ridiculous." I responded, "It seems people who have affairs think alike. You believe that as long as the other person doesn't find out, it's not a big deal. But what you did was wrong, and it all needs to be revealed as part of your punishment. That's why I'm going to divorce you and seek alimony and child support." With clear evidence of the affair, John couldn't deny what happened and agreed to the divorce. However, he was hesitant about paying alimony and child support. When I hired a strong lawyer and made it clear that I was ready to take the case to court, he finally agreed to pay. So I divorced my ex-husband, sold a house we had been living in, and moved into a new apartment with Natalie. I also pursued alimony from both John and Stacy and received $30,000 from each. Additionally, I secured child support from John. Once everything was settled, Natalie and I started our new life together. The experience was very traumatic for me, but over time, my wounds began to heal. However, about 6 months later, another issue arose. I was relaxing at home with Natalie on my day off when I got a surprising call from my mother. She told me that my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law had shown up at my parents' house and forced their way in without permission. My father was out, so my mother called me in a hurry. I quickly got ready and went to my parents' house. When I arrived, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law were sitting on the living room sofa waiting for me. I had no idea why they were there. "What are you both doing here at my parents' house all of a sudden?" I asked. My ex-husband then shocked me with his next words. "I want you to give me back the money you owe me." "Huh? I never borrowed any money from you. I paid $15,000 for our wedding, remember? You were the one in charge of the wedding, so that money was lent to you. Now that we're divorced, you're claiming it was all a fraud. Honestly, I could sue you for marriage fraud, but for now, all I want is that $15,000 back as a settlement." He made an unreasonable request. My ex-mother-in-law also insisted that I pay him as soon as possible. After the divorce, I knew that John had taken a full-time job at the cafe where he used to work, but the pay there wasn't much. It seemed he was struggling financially, which might explain his unreasonable demands. "Well, let me remind you that we both were equally involved in the wedding, and I paid more of our living expenses than you did. So $15,000 is just a small part of what I contributed. Don't bother me with such unreasonable demands." I tried to get them to leave, but they didn't budge. Just then, my father came home. He had apparently received a call from my mother and rushed back. "What are you guys doing here?" my father demanded. My ex-husband explained the same thing to my father, clearly afraid of him. My father listened quietly but was clearly furious and shocked by John's unreasonable demands. "It's your fault for having an affair in the first place. If you're going to make such outrageous demands, get out of here," my father said. He tried to kick them out, but my ex-husband fell to his knees and begged, "Please, Aaron, lend me money. Not only are you demanding alimony, but Stacy's husband is also after me and I can't afford it. Even $10,000 would help." It was shocking to see him begging for money in such a situation. I told him coldly, "No, I can't do that. Go home." But my ex-mother-in-law insisted, "You're also responsible for what happened. You should lend him the money." The situation was escalating, so my father said, "Fine, I'll get the money. Just wait here," and went to another room. "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" I hurried after him, and my father grinned. "Well, I have plenty of money. Since we have it, why not give it to them?" he said, opening the closet and pulling out some cash. This should be interesting, I thought. My father put the bills in an envelope and handed it to John. Satisfied with the fake money, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law left with pleased expressions. As soon as they were gone, I locked the door and called the police. The two must have realized the money was fake as soon as they stepped outside, because they came rushing back, banging on our front door. "Hey, what's going on? This is Monopoly money. I don't want this fake cash," John shouted angrily. I laughed and responded through the door. "Since we have so much money, I thought I'd share it with you." John exclaimed, "You've got to be kidding. and started banging even harder on the door, kicking it with his feet. They didn't realize their actions were only making things worse for them. As John and his mother were kicking the door, the police arrived and caught them in the act. Neighbors gathered around, and many witnessed John and his mother getting arrested. In the end, John didn't get any money but was fined for the arrest and had to pay for the damage to our front door. Additionally, one of the people who saw the arrest was a regular at the cafe where John worked, and news spread quickly. As a result, John was fired from his job. Now, John is struggling to find work and has moved back in with his parents. His in-laws are covering his alimony and child support payments for him. I've also filed a restraining order against my former in-laws. If anything happens, my family can call the police, and they will respond immediately. Now I'm happier than ever with Natalie. I'm committed to working hard and enjoying watching my daughter grow up. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.